You're officially a baby lobster, barely the size of a grain of rice. You don't have a name, a family, or a survival plan, just 10 spindly legs and an overwhelming urge to not get eaten. You drift through the ocean like microscopic confetti, part of a floating buffet for anything with a mouth. But let's assume you got lucky and after a few weeks you have transformed into a plankton. Your mom? Oh, she dumped you and 50,000 of your siblings into the ocean and left like a deadbeat dropping off a box of puppies. That's not an exaggeration. Female lobsters literally just release their eggs into the current and wish them luck. Statistically, only one of you will survive. So, let's hope it's you. You drift for the first few weeks, completely helpless, getting knocked around by waves and currents, while everything from jellyfish to babyfish tries to turn you into a light snack. You're translucent, squishy, and dumb. You don't even look like a lobster yet, more like a weird space shrimp with identity issues. Eventually, you land somewhere near the seafloor. Congratulations again. You didn't die in the first 2 weeks. That's a huge win in lobster terms. Now it's time to metamorphose. You molt, your first of many. That means you literally burst out of your old body like a deep-sea Hulk, except you're still tiny, fragile, and delicious. This molting process will happen over 100 times throughout your life. Because lobsters don't grow the normal way. They just keep exploding out of themselves like a crustacean Russian doll. But here's the catch. Right after molting, you're soft, like jellyfish soft. No armor, no defense, just a sad noodle in a shell-less limbo. So what do? You hide. You crawl under a rock and hope no one notices that you're basically an edible Capri Sun. If you survive long enough, you start to get your iconic features. Your claws, one for crushing, one for slicing. Your hard exoskeleton. Your long antennae that make you look like an underwater insect on anxiety meds. You're officially a juvenile lobster now. Still edible. Still dumb. But hey, at least you look the part. You spend your days scavenging the ocean floor, which is a fancy way of saying you eat rotting garbage. Dead fish, algae, mollusk poop. It's all on the menu. You're like a deep-sea raccoon in a medieval suit of armor. Now here's the kicker. You're growing, but your skeleton is on the outside, which means every time you want to get bigger, you have to tear off your own armor and grow a new one. Imagine if humans had to peel off their entire skin every time they hit puberty. That's your reality. Each molt leaves you vulnerable for days, sometimes weeks. During that time, even other lobsters will try to eat you. Yes, your own species. Lobsters are cannibals. You're basically living in an underwater version of the Hunger Games, except the prize is living to see another molt. And speaking of living, lobsters don't age like normal animals. Their cells don't degrade the way ours do. They don't die of old age in the usual sense. Instead, their bodies just keep growing and molting and growing, until one day they can't molt anymore. Why? Because molting takes energy, a lot of it. The older and bigger you get, the harder it becomes. Eventually, you grow too large to survive the molting process. Your body fails to split cleanly, or you run out of energy mid-molt. And just like that, your own skin becomes your coffin. So no, immortality isn't as glamorous as it sounds. You don't die of old age. You die from the molting equivalent of being trapped inside your own hoodie. But let's rewind a bit. You're about 5 years old now. You've survived predators, dozens of molts, and your own cannibalistic cousins. You've got massive claws, armored joints, and a constant attitude like you haven't slept in a decade. You're kind of a badass. Problem is, you're also territorial now. You've claimed a small patch of rocky seafloor, and God help anyone who wanders in. You'll fight them with claws, tail flips, and pure crustacean rage. Even mating starts with a duel, because nothing says romance like beating the crap out of your potential partner before reproduction. Oh, and mating? It's complicated. Female lobsters only mate right after they molt. You know, the one time they're defenseless. So if you're a male lobster and you find a recently molted female, you court her by dancing, antennal touching, and gently leading her to your burrow. Sounds sweet, right? Nope. You mate, she lays hundreds of eggs under her tail, then she pieces out while they mature. No parenting, no teaching them how to molt, just another generation of seafood lottery tickets drifting off into the void. If you're female, congratulations. You get to carry fertilized eggs for up to a year. Imagine being pregnant for an entire year while scavenging trash, avoiding predators, molting, and watching your own species try to eat you. No spawn days, no breaks. Just pure, hard-shelled hustle. Oh, look, here comes a human. A big shadow above the water. Probably a trap baited with dead fish. You'd think with all that brain power, humans would respect ancient, armored sea elders like you. But no, they love your sweet, succulent tail meat. You wander too close, lured by the smell, and snap metal bars shut around you. Welcome to the lobster pot. It's not an actual pot, yet, but it will be. You're hoisted into the air, dumped into a tank with dozens of others, claws banded shut, your armor useless now. Then you arrive at the restaurant. The tank bubbles like a mockery of your former ocean home. Children press their faces against the glass. The chef pulls you out, weighs you like a potato, and tosses you into boiling water. Alive, that's how you go out, not in a heroic final molt or battle with a rival, but in a slow, silent scream that no one can hear, because lobsters don't have vocal cords. Just nerves, lots of them, enough to feel every second of what's happening. So why does it suck to be a lobster? Because you start life as fish food, grow up in a neighborhood of murderers, age into a self-molting death trap, and if you're lucky enough to survive all that, you get boiled alive for someone's dinner. Happy ending? More like just the ending.